today we're going to do some more cooking, and I've had some children ask for cookies, and I had some children also ask for bananas and banana cookies. So I found a recipe of healthy banana choc chip cookies. Can you see them? They look yummy, don't they? So these are healthy banana choc chip cookies, and what you will need to get ready before you get started is a bowl to mix with. I have flour, plain flour. I have baking powder again to help the cookies rise. I have salt, milk, cinnamon today, choc chips. I have coconut oil, but you can also use butter if that's what you have in your house. I have coconut oil, so I'm going to use that. And one banana. It's best if you use a banana that is starting to go black like this. They will taste the best and they'll be really easy to mash. And I also have sugar. So if you have brown sugar, you can use brown sugar. If you happen to have coconut sugar in your house, you can use coconut sugar. It looks just like brown sugar, doesn't it? And I've also got a bit of vanilla. I have my bowl. I've got my mixing spoon. I've got a couple tablespoons as well. A teaspoon to measure with. I've got a bowl to mash up my banana in. We only need one banana. I've also got some measuring cups to measure all of these ingredients. And before you get started, I have put the oven on 180 degrees and I have washed my hands for 20 seconds and dried them. I then got my trays. So I got 2 trays for baking with, baking tray, and I got baking paper. So I just laid the baking paper down, and you might need somebody to help you to cut it off. So I've got 2 trays ready before I get started. I've got my recipe, and I've got everything. So you make sure you have flour, baking powder, cinnamon, salt, butter or coconut oil, vanilla, banana, milk, sugar, and chocolate chips. How many ingredients is that? 10, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ingredients. Okay, so make sure you've put your oven on 180 degrees and you also have washed your hands. Okay, so I'm just going to get myself a fork for my banana because I'm going to mash it up with a banana. Got a small fork for mashing it up too. I think I've got everything else ready. So first in my bowl, I'm going to put 1 cup of flour. Just 1 cup. So you don't need much flour. One cup of flour. Remember to tap it so you don't make a big mess. Here we go. 1 cup of flour is inside. I shouldn't need any more flour, so I'm going to put the lid on. If we find they're a bit too sticky to roll, we might need some more flour, but I don't think we will. I've got 1 cup of flour, and now I need my baking powder. Do you remember what baking powder helps to do? Baking powder is going to help the cookies to rise up taller, so they don't stay really flat. They're going to rise up. So we need 3/4 of a teaspoon. So not a whole teaspoon like that. Not half, but almost full. 3/4. So not completely full, but almost. You can see there's a little bit of gap there. 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Tap that in there. I'm going to add just a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to next, it says cinnamon. So If you have cinnamon in your house, you can use that. Have a smell. Smells good. A lot of recipes ask for cinnamon when you're cooking with banana. Like if you make banana pancakes, banana muffins, you can put cinnamon on top. And we're putting banana in our cookies. So 1/2 of a teaspoon. Do you remember how we talked about tablespoons and teaspoons? A tablespoon and a teaspoon is smaller, isn't it? So 1/2 of the teaspoon, not a full spoon, but 1/2 of a teaspoon. You can see that's 1/2. Pour that in there. Ooh. All right, did I get the flour? I did. The baking powder, the cinnamon, and we need salt. So salt is next. 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I've got my teaspoon. I'm not putting 1/2, I'm putting less than 1/2. I'm putting 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I'm putting 1/4 so you can see. There it is. So it's not 1/2, it's only 1/4, only a little bit on your teaspoon of salt. The cookies don't need much salt. Then I'm going to slowly mix it. I'm not going to quickly mix it everywhere. I'm going to hold the bowl with this hand. I'm going to mix slowly. So you've got flour, you've got baking powder, you've got cinnamon, and you've got salt. You can see the cinnamon in the flour. It makes it go a little bit brown, doesn't it? I don't know if you can see. There you go. Makes it go brown. All right. Sorry, we do need one more bowl for the next part. So I'm going to get one bowl. You can see I've got one extra bowl. This bowl is for mixing the butter or the coconut oil, vanilla, the mashed banana, and the milk. Okay, so first we're going to put the coconut oil or butter. So it needs to be melted. So what you're going to do is you're going to put 1.5 tablespoons of butter or oil. Okay, so I've got one. I'm going to get 1 tablespoon. You can use butter. It's the same amount. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of butter or 1 tablespoon of oil. So I've got 1 tablespoon. I'm going to use my finger to slowly push it down. You can do that with the butter too. And 1/2, so not a full one, but 1/2 of it. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to melt that in the microwave. Can you see that's about 1/2 of a tablespoon? It's not full, it's 1/2. Remember, you could use butter or coconut oil. So I have my coconut oil inside. I'm going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and I'm going to wash my finger, okay? So I'm going to go put that in the microwave and you can do your butter or your oil. Okay, because coconut oil takes a little bit longer, I did a little bit longer than 30 seconds. But I did 30 seconds first and then checked how it's going. So you can see it's not hard anymore. It's all melted. I can show you like this. It's all melted into oil. Your butter would be melted too from 30 seconds in the microwave. So I've got the coconut oil or the butter. I've got vanilla. We've used vanilla before, so you can have a smell of the vanilla. And we need to put 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So you can put a full teaspoon of vanilla and pour that in with the oil or the butter. Okay, that's done. Next, we're going to mash the banana in here and we're going to add the milk, okay? So you can mash the banana in the bowl, but I'm just going to do it in here so I don't dirty 2 bowls, okay? So, got my banana. I took all the skin off and opened it up. And now I'm going to use my fork to mash it, just like that. And I'll show you when it's done. Take my spoon out. Show you the mashed banana. I think it makes it a little bit easier because it's in some warm coconut oil too. So the darker your banana is, or the more bruises or black spots on it, the easier it will be to mash. Because if it's really yellow or still green, it's going to be a really hard banana. So you can see the banana is all mashed up with the oil or the butter, the vanilla, and now we're going to add milk in, okay? We're going to add 1 tablespoon of milk, so not much milk. You can use whatever milk you have at home, okay? So if you have normal milk, you can use normal milk. I only have almond milk at my house, so I'm going to use my almond milk. So 1 tablespoon of butter. Oh, sorry, 1 tablespoon of milk. Trying to trick you. 1 tablespoon of milk. Here we go. I'm going to pour that in there and I'm going to mix that. So we've got oil or butter, vanilla, banana, and milk. Looks milky now, doesn't it? Looks a little bit creamy. So it says, next, we are going to add in the brown sugar or coconut sugar. Okay. Now I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of coconut sugar. So if you have your measuring cups, it's not 1 whole cup. It's not half of the cup size. It's not 1/4. It's 1/3. So it's 1 and a 3 on your measuring cup. 1/3 of a cup of coconut sugar or brown sugar, whatever you have in your house. So I'm going to use a spoon just to make it a little bit easier to get it out so I don't make a big mess. I'm going to pour that in my 1/3 of a cup. Almost done. You can see my measuring cup is almost full. You want to use how much the recipe asks for so the cookies can be just right. Right, so I've got 1/3 of a cup of coconut or brown sugar. You can see that there. And I'm going to pour that straight in here with the flour and the salt and the baking powder and the cinnamon, because next you're going to pour all of this in anyway. So I'm going to add the coconut sugar or the brown sugar in. Stir that in with the flour blend. All right, now I'm going to add the banana, the butter or oil, and the vanilla in to the mixture. I'm going to scrape all the sides of the bowl to make sure I'm not wasting any of it. stir that. Remember that we're using one hand to hold the bowl, and we're going to mix that through. Make sure you mix it very well, because sometimes the banana stays really mushy. So because we washed our hands, I'm going to use my hands to mix it. Okay. Just gonna bind it all together. And I might add a little bit more of milk because it's just a little bit dry. I'm going to add a little bit more of my milk, okay? And then I'll stir that in. So just add a dash and see if that comes better, okay? Now it looks a little bit more like a cookie dough, doesn't it? All right, so next, I'm gonna brush off my hands. We're going to add chocolate chips. So we're going to add 1/3 of a cup also, just like we used the 1/3 of a cup of coconut sugar. We're going to use that for our chocolate chips, okay? So we're going to pour that in. There we go. I'll pour that in now. Tap that, and then I'm going to stir again. And like I said before, if it's a little bit too sticky, we will just add a little bit more flour so we can roll them, and then we'll put them straight in the oven. All right. So they smell good. Smell like banana, but not too much banana, just a little bit of banana. I can smell the cinnamon too. Okay, so have a feel. They are a little bit sticky, so I'm going to add a bit more flour and then we can get rolling, okay? So I might move some things out of the way so it's easier to roll. Got my flour here. I'm going to move this stuff out the way. All right. Got my baking tray with my paper. I've got 2 because it's supposed to make about 12 cookies. So what I'm going to do first, before I start to get ready to roll, with my cookie mixture, I'm going to add more flour, okay? So I'm not going to add much. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on. There we go. Just to make it a little bit thicker. So now I'm going to roll it. And remember, just a little bit of flour to make it easier to roll. You don't want to put too much flour, otherwise it will get a little bit dry, won't it? Okay, so now it looks thicker, like a better mixture. So I've got a little bit. If it's still a little bit too sticky, you can add flour, or you can, I found that you can put flour on your hands, okay? Put flour on my hands, and then I'm rolling that. There we go. And I'm going to push that. I'm going to put my ball down. And I'm going to press my banana cookie down slowly. So I rolled it into a ball, I pushed it down, and I used 2 fingers to push it down. And you can see my banana cookie is there. Okay, so if it's still a bit sticky, add a little bit more flour, just a little bit. All right. Let's see how this goes. Alright. So I've got about a handful. So I grabbed about a handful of the mixture, okay? You can use a tablespoon and you can measure it that way. Now I'm gonna roll it. Sometimes cookie dough is a little bit sticky, but it still tastes really good. So I've got my cookie dough ball, and I'm pushing that down. Sometimes mine come a little bit more stickier because I use gluten-free normal flour, plain flour, okay? If you're just using normal flour, it won't be as sticky. You can see this one's not sticky because it's had a bit of extra flour on my hands. All right, so push this one down. And remember that if they look a bit flat, that's okay because the baking powder is going to help it rise. So we're pushing the cookies down. If they're a little bit sticky, that's fine. They're going to taste really good. Just a tiny bit more flour. You can get your hands in there to mix it if you like, as long as you have washed them, because it's not nice if we haven't washed the germs off our hands because we've been touching lots of things, haven't we? You can see my cookie dough is a bit thicker now. There you go. So I'm rolling that. Roll, 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 roll. And I'm putting it down and using my fingers to push the dough mixture down. So remember not to make them too big because you should get about 10 to 12 cookies out of it, okay? Rolling onto my other tray now. And then I'm going to bake it in the oven for 10 minutes, okay? On 180 degrees, and put a timer on your phone or your iPad, or you can just look at the time and you can ask somebody what time it will be in 10 minutes. Okay, so they don't need much time to cook. Rolling, rolling, rolling. So my hand is flat, my top hand is rolling in a circle. Okay. Pushing down. And like I said, mine will be just a little bit stickier to yours, but that's okay. Even if they are sticky, they still come really tasty. Okay. The chocolate chips will make them taste good, and the sugar that you're putting, and the milk or the oil and the butter, and the bananas will make them taste a little bit sweet too. Alright, don't forget to push them all down and try and scrape the bits off your fingers too onto the cookies. And then you're going to put it in the oven for 10 minutes, okay? And keep an eye on them. If they're starting to go a little bit golden in the corners and brown, you can turn the tray around in the oven and cook them for a couple more minutes, or you can take them out and check if they're cooked enough. They won't need much time. The recipe says 9 to 11 minutes, so they might even be ready in 9 minutes. Your oven, you might have a really big oven, so they might not be ready until 12 or 15 minutes maybe, depending on how big your oven is and how fast it cooks. Okay. I hope you enjoy your cookies. I hope they are yummy, even though that they are a bit healthier. And let me know if you like them. Bye, and I'll see you soon. Have a good day.